Day 4 of the OWCS Season 2 World Championships in Stockholm, Sweden was full of some entertaining games and a lot of excitement overall, and we were able to build upon that excitement during the day with some breaking news announced by Blizzard regarding the future of Overwatch Esports heading into 2026. In this announcement, we got some important information and some exciting news regarding OWCS Season 3, but also some key details and information about the return of the Overwatch World Cup. Let's start with the OWCS portion of the news since it's a bit more compact and it's a bit easier to explain. So first and foremost, the big takeaway, at least for me, was that they are now expanding the partner team program. North America is actually seeing their number of partner teams double from 2 to 4. EMEA is staying put at 3. Korea is going to have 4. And now China will join the mix with 1 partner team. And a lot of the teams that we at least know of are really exciting additions. In North America in particular, we have the Dallas Fuel coming back to Overwatch Esports. After a couple of years of absence, they're ready to throw their names back into the ring. I guess the OWCS ecosystem has developed to the point where MV is ready to get back out there. The Dallas Fuel are coming back after what will be 3 long years without them. We've missed them. They're in a historic franchise. I'm sure many people are going to support them right off rip when they return. And it'll be interesting to see what they do because seeing as they're in North America, they're not going to be fielding a Korean roster like they did for about half of their existence. They're going back to their roots, like the early days, and I'll be very interested to see who they end up signing. Just having a team like this is really important with how much history they have, with how lovable they are in the Overwatch Esports community. That's going to bring a lot of eyes. A lot of MV fans are going to shift their focus back over to Overwatch Esports. A lot of people will reclaim their favorite team after not having one for a while, maybe being distant from Overwatch Esports with the lack of the Dallas Fuel. It's just really nice to have a familiar face again, just like with Toronto Defiant last year, you know? It's great to have them here, and I'm hoping in future years that we'll have even more former Overwatch League franchises join the mix. But also from North America, and I'd argue this may be just as huge as the Dallas Fuel joining, is Disguised Toast deciding to come over to Overwatch Esports. His org DSG are going to field a roster in North America in 2026. I never would have saw something like that coming. This is such a big turn of events for Overwatch Esports. Like, genuinely, we've never had anything like this before. A content creators org joining our esport at such a big level like this. We're entering uncharted territory, and I think it's for the best. I know that it's disappointing that we're not seeing some other storied franchises come back into the mix like NRG Shock, Toronto Defiant. Some people would even argue, including myself, that maybe Nightmare deserve a spot, but I think that DSG is going to be very beneficial for the scene. The most important takeaway in this situation is exposure. Having Disguised Toast, a major influencer like this, is naturally going to draw a lot of eyes towards our esport. Whether it be through co-streams, announcements on his social media, people pay attention to that stuff. He's got a pretty major fan base. People have watched and supported him with other esports endeavors that he's been a part of. So naturally, it's going to happen for Overwatch as well. There could be a lot of new eyes that get exposed to Overwatch Esports for the first time because Disguised Toast is going out there and just co-streaming the games, watch partying his own team. Imagine if he brings in an extra, let's say, 5,000 to 10,000 viewers. That's pretty massive. It's not to say that a lot of those people will end up becoming fans, but it's certainly possible that a small percentage will become interested in Overwatch Esports, maybe even get into other content creators as well. It's an avenue where everybody can end up winning, so I'm really glad that Disguised Toast is giving this a shot. There's a lot of possibilities that could be in the air in the future thanks to this, so let's all pray that it goes positively. Along with those two, over in EMEA, we saw Gen G leave the partner team program, and they're nowhere to be found, and in their place is going to be Team Peps, and I could not be more happy for this organization. They started off as just this grassroots, passionate organization for Overwatch Esports. That's all they were. They're competing in Overwatch contenders and other small tournaments. We've seen them consistently be a part of OWCS. No one really thought they'd be any more to that, but they ended up being rewarded for their commitment to the game the last several years, and I think this is very well deserved. With all the passion and effort they put into things and how they were able to make a run at Stockholm, Sweden, I feel like this is very well deserved. It's the cherry on top of a very fun ending to their OWCS season. Team Peps are a very welcome addition to the partner team program. This is huge for them, and who knows who could be next. This opens up a lot of avenues for other teams in a very similar situation in the future. For some other quick information, even though it was very generalized, it would seem that we're going to have a very similar format to the one right now heading into 2026, which is definitely the right call. This format was really good for the most part, and it would seem that we're going to have even more live events, so potentially more stages as well, which is fantastic. The live events this year have been absolutely amazing, and it would be great to expand to other locations in the world as well. And finally, as we gear up towards next year, we're going to have a little preseason boot camp for OWCS, and it's going to be held in none other than Korea, the most famous place ever to do boot camping for Overwatch Esports teams historically. So literally in February, which isn't even that far away, all of the partner teams are going to gather in Seoul, Korea for 1 week of preparation and training for the season. They're all going to have a lot of time to practice with each other. They're going to have dedicated scrim blocks and schedules, according to the announcement, which is absolutely sick. It's going to be a great way for these teams to grind, see what they're all about, and increase each other's level. Iron sharpens iron. The only unfortunate thing here is that clearly there's a bias towards just the partner teams, and there are other good teams that are not partnered. So hopefully that's something we can work on in future years to make it so other really good teams have a chance as well. But I suppose at the end of the day, this is part of the perk of being a partner team. That's pretty much all of the big stuff with OWCS. Obviously, there's more stuff going on with Face It. Collegiate got some exciting updates along with their own live event that'll be coming next year too, which is really cool. But for now, we'll keep it there with the traditional stuff, and we'll look towards the Overwatch World Cup because we got quite a bit of awesome information. So firstly, in 2026, there will be a total of 30 teams total that compete in the Overwatch World Cup. 19 will be invited, and 11 will be wildcard that fight their way through their own separate qualification. The 19 invited teams are based on the top 16 finishes in the 2023 World Cup, plus the other top 3 performing teams in the EMEA region. To decide the wildcard teams that are joining the 19 invited countries, they're competing in their own separate thing called the Conference Cups. It's an open format thing over Face It. As long as you're able to be approved by Blizzard, your country can compete in March of 2026, and there's going to be 5 spots from EMEA, 3 spots from Asia, and 3 from America on the line through those qualifiers. I personally really like this wildcard format a lot because in 2023 it felt a little weird. It felt like all of the invites were already set in stone, and some countries missed out as a result when it felt like they shouldn't. So this is going to give just about anybody an opportunity to play, and if they're good enough, they'll make it through. This could lead to some very special stories. But it gets better, actually. There could be even more ways for new stories and new faces to go out there and prove themselves in this World Cup tournament, and that has to do with the new roster construction rules. So the thing to note is that it is a maximum of 7 players that you can have for any specific country, but unlike any other year this has been done, there's a new way for players within their respective conferences to showcase their skills, and that is through the new breakout player feature. The purpose of these spots is to provide some type of platform for other top players to be represented regardless of where they're from, which I think is really dope, not just because it can provide opportunities for new players, but also some notable players that are on countries that don't get representation could still have a chance on like another EMEA team, let's say. Europe is really big, so naturally not all of the countries are going to have an equal chance just because of the talent pool and everything. So maybe there's a world where some notable EMEA players can join forces with another country to make them even stronger. Do keep in mind though that this is only available for players who don't have their country already being represented in the Overwatch World Cup. Like, you're not going to see a South Korean import on a different country. That's just not going to happen. This is simply meant for more of the minority cases, and I think that's really exciting because there's going to be some guys left out, and they genuinely can make a difference on a team that's maybe missing that final piece. Regardless, I think between this and the wildcard opportunities, there's many chances for a bunch of new countries and new players to even get involved. And it's important to remember, we've seen plenty of players throughout the years get a career jumpstart because of the Overwatch World Cup, so this is a pretty exciting time. In terms of some key dates, around February to March, early springish of next year is when we officially get team tryouts for all of the different countries. That's when you can expect to hear more news about who's trying out for who, and potentially who ends up making it with some official releases, alongside the wildcard team tournaments as well. Once all of the team selecting in the conference and wildcard things are all settled, we'll move into the official 30-team online qualifiers during the summer of 2026. And that's when the format starts to feel more like 2023. 28 of those 30 teams are going to compete within their own conferences in their own subsections, and 2 teams from each of those subsections are going to advance to the group stage alongside Saudi Arabia and China. Those two had some incredible runs back in 2023, so it's well deserved to automatically get over to the groups, and even without them, in some places, it will be an absolute dogfight to decide who makes it over to the group stage portion, especially in EMEA. 2023 was absolutely insane with the sheer number of countries that had some great games against each other, and I'm sure we'll get more of the same in 2026. From there, we enter the group stage portion in the summer of 2026, starting with the drawings, where we get 4 groups of 4, and from there we get what I think is maybe one of the most exciting aspects of this new World Cup format. And that is the group stage being a live in-person event. It'll be just like the good old days for my OG fans out there. If you remember the 2016, 2017, or even 2018 World Cup, we'd have the various groups play in different locations in the world on LAN in front of a crowd for some really good matches, like the US versus Canada. South Korea and Finland played a banger as well. I think it was in Korea or someplace in Asia, if I remember correctly. I'm not exactly certain if there's going to be multiple venues or if all 16 countries play at the same one, but regardless, this adds on to the spectacle, it adds on to the entertainment, another layer of enjoyment for the World Cup. And then from there, we have our 16 teams go down to 8 from the groups. 2 from each group go on to the final single elimination tournament, the World Cup Finals being held at BlizzCon in September. And that is pretty much all of the key takeaways and details from the information that was given to us. Between the Overwatch World Cup and OWCS, the future looks very bright for Overwatch Esports. I think we're headed in a good direction, and we're eating good as we head towards the 10-year anniversary of Overwatch Esports being a thing. Let me know what you think about all this down in the comments section, and if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could leave a like, and be sure to subscribe if you're new so you can stay up to date with all of the most recent news regarding OWCS and the upcoming Overwatch World Cup.